We were talking about that. Drew Brees is a bad brother. But guess what? So is Kareem Hunt. Mark Ingram is no scrub. Michael Thomas is a stud in this league. Traquan Smith is a rookie, but he has shown a lot of promise. Ted Ginn Jr. is back. So if you're the Los Angeles Rams, you're going up against the New Orleans Saints. Or better yet, you're somebody, a prognosticator, a handicapper, or whomever you want to call yourself, or whatever you want to call yourself. Guess what you got to look at? It can't be just the 346 yards that Drew Brees threw for. It also has to be the fact that not too many of those passes were to Alvin Kamara. Only one of those passes for 3 yards was to Mark Ingram. Traquan Smith only had 2 receptions for 23 yards. I suspect he's going to have a better day. Ted Ginn Jr. wasn't even available. So if you're the New Orleans Saints, you've got some stuff to work with. And that crowd in the Superdome, the home of Mardi Gras, Who Dat Nation, things are going to get a little bit different. Things are going to be a little bit different. This is crazy. This is a Super Bowl on the line. Them folks are going to come ready and hyped. There is no doubt about that. So it's going to be real interesting to see what transpires. And we all have to pay attention to it. Because if I'm that crowd in New Orleans, you're the 12th man. You got to go out there and handle your business, because I think it's going to take that against this Ram squad. I think McVay and the crew are going to be ready, and I think they're going to put up points. And I can assure you this, the New Orleans Saints ain't winning this game if they only going to score 20 points. I can promise you that. You're going to have to score more than 20 to win this damn game. This is not going to be some low-scoring festivity. It's not going to happen. You're the Saints also be worried. Sheldon Rankins is out. Torn ACL, left ACL. He's out for the year. That was your run stuffer. What you going to do now against Gurley and C.J. Anderson? What you going to do now? That's a big loss. So I'm just of the mindset that, you know what? You can't take anything for granted. Now let me put it on Front Street right now. Having said everything that I just said, knowing that the Saints are 6-0 at home in the playoffs under Sean Payton and Drew Brees, knowing how formidable they are on their home turf, knowing that they're going against a Rams team that came into the Dallas game giving up a league-high 5.1 yards per rush, my response is don't think for 1 second. Don't think for 1 second that this Saints team are those Cowboys. They're not. I kind of wish the Saints had gotten their hands on the Cowboys to avenge what the Cowboys did to them early in the season. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be because the Cowboys weren't good enough to get to this point. Fair enough. But this comes down to the Rams and the Saints. And I predict that both teams are going to score at least 25 points. So somebody's offense is going to have to show up. And it's going to be real interesting to see whose is it. Or if it's both and we're going to have ourselves a shootout. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. I'm going with the Saints and the Chiefs to win this game. I have extreme trepidation of both. I think both could end up being a tight 4 contest, and quite frankly, I'm wishing for it because I don't want blowouts. I don't want to see watching the New England Patriots trounce the Los Angeles Chargers last week was a complete waste of our time. The Chargers should have been ashamed of themselves. They never showed up. They never showed up. It was an embarrassing performance by the Chargers. Make no mistake about it. Just an embarrassing performance. But I got news for you. As spectacular as Tom Brady looked, and the rest of that crew, with James White catching 15 catches for about 91 yards, with Julian Edelman having about 115 receiving yards, all of that stuff notwithstanding, regardless of what you see the Patriots do offensively, I don't believe that New England's defense is going to shut down Patrick Mahomes. I don't see it. I think the Kansas City Chiefs recognize who they're going against, and they have to be ready. And to me, all the pressure in the world is on Andy Reid. Cliff Kingsbury, Freddie Kitchens, Adam Gase, Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, Bruce Arians in Tampa, that's not really important. Vic Fangio in Denver, that's not really, really important. But when you look at these openings, it speaks about young. It speaks about people trying to emulate the Rams and what they did in discovering Sean McVay. It features a whole bunch of things other than what it should be and what it should feature. And that is the fact that these young coaches with a background of working with quarterbacks epitomize the new generation of coaching talent that everybody is gunning for. At some point in time, somebody might ask the question, what about Andy Reid? Now, I'm not advocating nothing because I'm a fan of Andy Reid's. I've known him for many years. I love the guy, and I think he's a damn good coach. He's the play caller in Kansas City, not Eric Bieniemy, the African-American who happens to be the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Fair enough. Andy Reid's the one calling plays. Andy Reid's basically the one running this offense. Andy Reid has been a coach in the National Football League in his 20th season. That's 2-0, John. That's 2-0, JC. 20th year. And not one Super Bowl championship to show for it. No, this is not saying Andy Reid needs to win or else he's gone. Nobody's saying that. What I'm saying is that I don't know if Andy Reid has ever had a better chance of winning the Super Bowl. You want to count Donovan McNabb and those boys from 2004 when he was in Philadelphia? Fine. T.O. was operating on one leg, and the rest of those guys, whether it's Pinkston or Mitchell or whomever, they couldn't touch T.O. And deep in your heart, you knew that New England were the favorites, and they should be the favorites. New England's not the favorites in this game against Kansas City. It's the Kansas City Chiefs that are. It's because of Patrick Mahomes and the stud that he is. He's going to win league MVP, threw 50 touchdowns this year and just 12 interceptions and 5,000 yards. He's going to win the league MVP this year. Make no mistake about it. And now, not only does he have that in his back pocket, what's going to happen is that, Sunday shows up. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got Sammy Watkins. He's got Travis Kelce. He's got Damian Williams. Now, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but let me tell you something. This is some deep stuff. It really, really is. And I think that the key to this game is going to be, Travis Kelce. And here's the reason why. Of course, their defense is going to have something to do with it. Just neutralize New England to some degree. You probably ain't going to shut them down, but just neutralize them to some degree. Here's my thinking about the whole key pivotal players for each team. Travis Kelce, he's the best tight end in football. But guess what? If Bill Belichick is true to form, he's going to take away your first and your primary and your secondary options. If your primary option is Tyreek Hill, the primary option number 2 has to be Damian Williams at the running back spot. Or you can flip it and it's vice versa because you don't want somebody to run the football effectively. What you want to do is force them into throwing situations where you're going to put the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands and dare him to beat you, even though he's already shown the entire NFL what he can do. That's what you're going to do. My point is, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, or you're the New England Patriots, rather, you got to take away the running game and the elite home run passing game that is Tyreek Hill. That leaves Travis Kelce to do damage. He had 7 receptions for 108 yards last week against Indianapolis. On the season, he's had 103 receptions for like 1,387 yards. Travis Kelce is the truth. So you're going to have to guard him. But I don't think you can focus on them the way you're going to focus on the running game and the way that you're going to focus on Tyreek Hill. That leaves Travis Kelce to do damage, which I think he will do. If you're New England, you got to give the ball to James White again and Sony Michel. Got to run the football. Because running the football sets up the passing game for Tom Brady. I don't think they're going to be able to run nearly as effectively as they did last week against Indy. And as a result, that would justify why I'm going with Kansas City, although I'm nervous about that pick. And then in L.A., you've got a situation where you don't have Cooper Kupp, but in Jared Goff, you do have Woods, you do have Cooks, you do have Gurley and C.J. Anderson. So the combination of those two running backs with those two receivers against a New Orleans defense that certainly is a hell of a lot better than given credit for, and has had even moments of dominance. But in terms of being a consistent, bona fide defense, no, that's not New Orleans. So if you're the Rams, you can take care of that, particularly with Sheldon Rankins out. But if you're the Saints, here's how you can neutralize and nullify that. Give the ball to Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. And I'm not saying running the football. I'm saying if you have to, turn Mark Ingram into James White in New England. Make him pass catch. Do that. Do the same with Alvin Kamara. Try to get into their secondary. Also, try to exploit Marcus Peters again. Yes, there was no Aqib Talib the first go round, but the knock on Marcus Peters from football aficionados is that he is a guy that is not focused and disciplined enough at the corner position, meaning that he takes his eyes off your receiver. You're looking back at the quarterback. You're looking to make a play, take chances. He's vulnerable because of that reason. So if he's vulnerable because of that reason, you're the Saints. You got to attack him all day, every day, especially with Aqib Talib there. You got to pick on Marcus Peters all day long, especially with his temper and his temperament, because you don't know what he'll do. That could potentially work to your advantage. And those are the kind of things that you have to think about. You really, really do. Say ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. It's been a long time since we had two conference championship games that were this, that were this intriguing. It's been a while. It really, really has. And it's going to be real interesting to see how these things unfold. But I'm going with the two home teams. I'm fully aware of the fact that the Patriots could win and the Rams could win. A matter of fact, one would argue the Patriots should win. But I'm not going to go that far. Not with this kid, Patrick Mahomes, at the helm. No, sir. You want to beat him? Take it. I need to see it. 888-SAY ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Fellas, stop lounging around. Be active. Take your girl out. Go to a game or a concert. Get tickets to something. Plus, the playoffs are